Here we are, all together as we sing this song joyfully. Here we are, all together as we hope will always be. Join me now as friends and celebrate the community that we all share as one. Keep the fire burning, kindle it with care as we all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing this song joyfully. Here we are, all together as we hope will always be.
The Ohio Valley is an important region in American history. It's an area that stretches for about 1,000 miles along the Ohio River from the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River. It's approximately where Ohio and Indiana are today. To the French, this place was very important because it was a link between Canada and Louisiana, which were territories controlled by France. The area was also important to the British because it would be a good area for trading and growth of their colony.
The French thought this was their land, so they sent soldiers to get rid of British traders who had started to settle in the area. The French also made forts in the area to protect their claims.
Hey George Washington,
What is it, Governor Dinwiddie?
go tell French to leave the Ohio Valley.
Yes, sir.
French, get out of our land!
Are you stupid? No way! This is our land!
Governor Dinwiddie, they refused.
Then tell the Virginians to go make a fort near the Ohio River.
Yes, sir.
They were almost done when the French attacked the fort. British didn't know that the fort got attacked by French. George Washington, please go reinforce the fort. On their way, they surprised a few French soldiers in patrol. They made a makeshift of the fort.
Twin, we need help from Indians.
Yep, you're right. Benjamin Franklin is going to come with a plan to win the war.
Thank you for watching.
After the French and Indian War was over, British Parliament was looking for ways to pay off the war and to support British troops who were stationed in the colonies.
1764. After England won the war, English Parliament put tax on sugar to get money from the people of England.
Many colonists were angry because they had no voice in deciding on this new tax law.
Others, though, felt that the tax was a small price to pay for the help they had received from the British.
Parliament passed a second law a year later. The Stamp Act placed a tax on stamps, newspapers, licenses, insurance policies, almanacs, pamphlets, legal documents, and even playing cards. Knowing this would make colonists angry, they hired tax collectors to collect the taxes.
No taxation without representation.
Some colonists protested the taxes peacefully by refusing to buy British goods or making their own.
Other colonists were more violent, attacking the homes of the tax collectors, beating tax collectors, and chasing them out of town.
Benjamin Franklin, James Otis, and 25 other colonial leaders met in New York City to talk about what to do about the Stamp Act. They are called Stamp Act Congress. The Stamp Act Congress talked about the problems the stamp law created. For example, people who did not obey the Stamp Act could be tried in special courts without a jury. Also, property could be taken away. Since British citizens were supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, they had a problem with the Stamp Act. There was also the Declaration of Rights and Grievances sent to King George III to tell British government they had no right to tax the colonists without giving representation. It also expressed concern that special courts were taking away colonists' rights. Parliament repealed the Stamp Act in 1766 because they were worried about the boycott. Sales of British goods decreased by almost half, and some colonists and British merchants were losing money. The Townshend Act put a tax on lead, glass, paint, paper, and tea brought into the colony.
The Townshend Act showed that British government believed Parliament had authority to make laws for the colonists.
Yeah, y'all know what it is. Katy Perry, Juicy J. Let's rage.
The Boston Massacre, March 5th, 1770. To further show its authority over the colonists, Parliament sent more soldiers to North America. By 1770, there were more than 9,000 British soldiers in the 13 colonies.
Having British soldiers in their cities angered many colonists. They called these soldiers lobsters, redcoats, and bloodybacks, making fun of their bright red uniform jackets. Some soldiers responded to this name-calling by destroying colonial property. As the anger between the British soldiers grew, stronger fights broke out.
Paul Revere, a Boston silversmith, made an engraving or picture showing the soldiers shooting at the colonists.
Paul Revere made the picture look this way to make the colonists even angrier.
9 blocks down Timeline Street and falls back into 1770.
Wow! 1900! In the evening, a large crowd gathered near several British soldiers. Some colonists in the crowd shouted insults at the soldiers and began to throw rocks and snowballs.
The 3 years following the Boston Massacre were fairly quiet in the 13 colonies. Some historians have called this time the calm before the storm. The storm came when Parliament again angered the colonists by passing more laws. In 1773, Parliament repealed all of the Townshend Acts except for the tea tax. In addition, Parliament tried to give a monopoly on tea to the East India Company, Britain's chief tea producer.
The East India Company was able to sell tea for much cheaper. Colonial merchants could no longer make money in the tea trade, so some colonists decided to boycott tea.
Your Majesty, there has been a bloody massacre in Boston, and the colonists want you to lower the tea tax. Oh, I'll get that for you.
I declare the tea taxes to stay the same.
In Pennsylvania, colonists did not allow ships carrying British tea to enter their ports. In Massachusetts, colonists also did not want ships loaded with their tea to dock at their ports either, but the governor, Thomas Hutchinson, gave the order to let ships dock. On December 16, 1773, colonists took part in what became known as the Boston Tea Party.
The king has declared the tea taxes to stay the same.
What? That's outrageous! That's so unfair! The king should be treating us like actual people! We should have some representatives, yeah!
That night, members of the group called the Sons of Liberty boarded the ship dressed as Mohawk Indians. They broke open 342 tea chests and dumped the tea into the harbor.
Hey Stanley, does this look okay?
Yeah, it looks great, Bob.
How about my hair?
Yeah, it looks great. We look great, boys. Yeah!
Oh no, the redcoats are coming. Let's get away. Go!
I got water in my nose. Hey Stanley, can you help me up? Stanley? Stanley?
Bum, 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 bum.
The British are gonna punish us for the Boston Tea Party.
Let's just wait and see.
Here's our punishment. That's right. I really needed to know that.
Let's give those naughty Americans some more taxes as a punishment. Mwahaha. Stop it! No more taxes!
Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year.
He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hanging lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower as a signal light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm.
Then he said goodnight with a muffled oar, silently rowed to the Charlestown shore.
Just as the moon rose over the bay, were swinging wide at her morning's lay, the Somerset British man of war, a phantom ship with each mast and spar, across the moon like a prison bar, and a huge black hulk that was magnified by its own reflection in the tides. Meanwhile, his friend through alley and street wanders and watches with eager ears, till the silence surrounding me hears the muster of men at the Barak door, the sound of arms and the tramp of feet, and the measured tread of the grenadiers marching down the street.
I'm Joseph Warren, and you are my fellow colonists. We have decided in making a militia unit to defend the Union. All in favor, raise your hand. General Gage, message for you. Yes, soldier, speak up. The rebels are hosting John Hancock and Samuel Adams in Lexington, and they're storing weapons in Concord. Well then, send 700 men to Concord and Lexington to arrest those two and take those weapons right away. You understand me? Yes, sir.
The British crossed the Charles River to find John Hancock and Samuel Adams.
Down the stream, merrily, 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 life is like a dream.
Paul Revere wrote to warn John Hancock and Sam Adams about the British troop coming.
John Hancock, Sam Adams, the British are coming. You should get out of here. They're coming by sea. You should really get out of here. It's not safe for you anymore. They're going to Concord to take the weapons. We should really organize. We should get them a little ready to fight. Let's go!
British arrived at Lexington on April 1975 and found the Minutemen waiting for them.
For Britain, for America!
Disperse, you damn rebel!
Sarge, he's killing one of us! Bang! Bang!
Retreat! Retreat! Wait for your life! As they marched back to Boston, the Minutemen fired shots at them from the woods and fields. 73 British soldiers were killed and 104 were wounded. 93 Minutemen were killed and wounded in the fighting. Do you know what the Second Continental Congress was?
Ooh, a piñata.
Happy birthday!
Here we are, all together as we sing this song joyfully. Here we are, all together as we hope will always be. Join me now as friends and celebrate the community that we all share as one. Keep the fire burning, kindle it with care as we all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing this song joyfully. Here we are, all together as we hope will always be.
The colonists believed that the British government would use force to make the colonists obey the laws.
Representatives from each colony met to discuss the problems the British were making.
This meeting took place in September 1774. It was at Philadelphia's Carpenter's Hall.
"56 delegates were there. Mainly their opinions were be friends with Britain or break away from them.
Congress agreed to make a statement of rights called a petition. The petition concluded by issuing a warning: we are for the present only resolved to pursue peaceable measures. Congress set May 10, 1775 as the deadline for Parliament to respond to the petition. At the end of the meeting, the Congress agreed to stop most trade with Britain.
In Virginia, Patrick Henry suggested the colonists begin preparing for war. He told the House of Burgess, "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death."
The Second Continental Congress. Do you know what the Second Continental Congress was?
No!
No! Well, I am going to tell you. It all started when a dreadful battle was fought on Lexington Green. The Congress wanted to be prepared for another battle, so they called a meeting on May 10th, 1775 in Philadelphia. But the delegates had a hard time deciding what to do. Some wanted peace and others wanted war. It took them a month, but they decided what to do. They decided to make a continental army with full-time, well-paid soldiers.
But they had no idea who should lead the Continental Army.
The next day, Congress appointed me as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army.
I appoint you Commander-in-Chief.
Yippee! The Congress asked each colony for money to buy supplies for the soldiers.
The Congress also decided to print their own money, and they called it continental currency.
By the time I left with my army, the Battle of Bunker Hill was already fought.
The end, or is it?
I'm late.
Who are you?
Oops, wrong movie. Oops. Hello, guys. You know what the Second Continental Army? Oh, how embarrassing.
The Battle of Bunker Hill took place on Breed's Hill on June 17, 1775. The British wanted to fortify Dorchester Heights to get a better view. The Patriots tried to stop them by fortifying Breed's Hill.
You know, we should really go to Dorchester Heights, and so we can get a better view over Boston. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we need to do, so you go get the troops.
Yeah, okay. Yes, General.
Wow, the Patriots are putting up a big fight, but when we get to Dorchester Heights, it's all over for them.
But the Patriots need their plans.
This is my time to escape.
I have a feeling I should turn around.
Don't be stupid. It's not like there's a rebel spy currently walking directly behind us.
But I have a feeling.
You lazy bum.
General, there's British troops marching to the Dorchester Heights. We need to stop them.
Okay, go fortify Breed's Hill immediately.
Okay, sir.
Come on, troops, come on. We don't have all night to get to Breed's Hill.
William Prescott and his men arrived at midnight and started building earthworks immediately.
At 1 p.m., the British ships came and fired at the Patriots. The British came shortly after the ships and built a campsite there.
Come on, guys, let's build a campfire and have some lunch. Men, we must fortify Breed's Hill.
The British charged Breed's Hill.
Charge!
Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
Retreat!
I need reinforcements. Charge you! Come on, man, we can hold them off longer.
Fall back, men.
Colonel, I need more reinforcements.
Charge!
Fall back, men! Retreat!
After 3 waves, the British took over the fort.
Thomas Paine writing Common Sense.
Common sense for sale. Think like a real patriot.
What's that you got there? What do you think of Thomas Paine's Common Sense?
I think the common sense is a terrible
You
thing.
bloody poo! Get off me! Get off me! Get
Delegates arrive at the Second Continental Congress to discuss the problem and find a solution.
Governor Dickinson, what do you think?
Mr. Washington, I believe in peace. We don't need to go to war.
There can be no peace after what happened at Lexington, Concord, and at Bunker Hill.
We will be destroyed if we go to war. Just us talking about this is treason. Let me read King George's speech to you again. Your heads will be cut off and your bodies will be divided into 4 quarters. These parts will then be taken away for the king's just disposal. And may the Lord Almighty God have mercy upon your soul.
Already at war. We tried to prevent it, but now we have no choice. Some of us want peace and some of us want war. Parliament is responsible for our problems. They are killing people and setting houses and buildings on fire. If Congress doesn't take over the army in Boston, we'll lose. We need a continental army and we need a general.
How about John Hancock to lead our army?
How about Charles Henry Lee from Virginia?
I nominate George Washington.
Point George Washington to lead our army. I accept.
These united colonies are and ought to be free and independent states.
We need a committee. Those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
The principal difficulty lies, and the greatest care should be employed, in constituting this representative assembly. It should be in miniature and exact portrait of the people at large. It should think, feel, reason, and act like them, that it may be the interest of this assembly due to strict justice at all times. It should be an equal representation, or in other words, equal interest among the people should have equal interest in it. Great care should be taken to effect this and to prevent unfair, partial, and corrupt elections.
There comes a time when you have to separate, but when you do that, you should say why. People have rights, and people make up government, and government works for people, not vice versa. Government has power, and people give government power through agreements. You should not overthrow a government for small reasons, but if there is a repeated issue, you have to. And King George is a very good example of this poor government behavior. You have treated these colonies horribly, and I will prove this with a list. He's been a poor excuse of a government. He's sent armies that would eat our food. He's made it impossible for us to make a profit. He's made it impossible for us to govern our own colony. He's imposed taxes on us without our consent. We tried to ask you nicely to change, but you ignored us, so we think he shouldn't be our king. And therefore, we declare independence.
After a 9-hour debate, we passed a resolution. Now the 13 colonies are the United States. And on July 2nd, 1776, we voted for independence. And on July 4th, 1776, we approved the document. 1 month later, we signed the document.
We must unite the former colonies and defend our new country. A new government must be formed.
We elect John Dickerson head of the committee to write a
Plan of government.
I decide to unite the former colonies into one confederation.
Confederation of America would form the 13 independent states to a friendship. They discussed a plan for more than a year.
On March 15th, 1777, Congress finally approved the plan. We used to call this the Articles of Confederation. We have to call and elect leaders of Congress. Under the Articles of Confederation, this Congress served as government for the United States for 8 years.
This is what led the states during the last year of the Revolution.
might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
In 1777, Ben Franklin went to Paris to try and get help from France to fight the British. Even though the French did not feel that the Patriots could win the war, they did want to see the British lose against American forces. In June 1777, the Patriots defeated a troop of British soldiers at the Battle of Saratoga.
This win convinced the French that the Patriots might actually win a war against the British. The French sent soldiers, gunpowder, and ships with supplies to the colonists.
When the British government learned that the colonists were being helped by France, they started to move their troops from the north to the south.
With the help of loyalists, colonists who still support the king, the British captured Charleston.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
After he lost 1/4 of his men and short on supplies, he decided to leave the Carolinas and moved his troops to Yorktown, Virginia. Washington's army, along with 5,000 French troops, was marching south from New York City to Virginia. At the same time, a fleet of ships battled the fleet of British ships that was bringing supplies and forced them to turn back. After General Cornwallis was surrounded, he finally decided to surrender.
Sean Khalifa, man. Toe Chain.
In April 1782, John Jay, John Adams, and Ben Franklin went to France to work out a deal to officially end the war. In Paris was the British king, Ben Franklin, the French king, John Jay, and John Adams. We need to be a free land, no more taxes, and all the soldiers need to exit the country.
Okay, Ben, but all the loyalists who stand in your country have to be treated fairly.
The French helped the colonists, so they got a say in the treaty too. They were not concerned about America's best interests. We plan to engineer a settlement that will oblige you to be somewhat dependent on us. The Treaty of Paris was officially signed September 3rd, 1782. For America! For France! For America! For America! Okay, guys, we get the point. There's no need to sing. You won the war. So guys, before we start discussing, we have to get to know each other better. We should also share a secret. My favorite food is ice cream. I'm a fatty, okay?
I love to snuggle, and I love to snuggle with my pillow pet, Gigi the giraffe.
Okay, guys, I will let you in on a little secret. I have no idea how to speak French. With this accent, everyone thinks I can. Hey, wanna go to Israel with me? Yeah, I guess. Alright, let's go. Awkward. Okay, guys, let's start discussing.
Whose is it? Whose what is it? Whose birthday is it?
Is it yours, June? 'Cause I know it's not mine.
It's not mine.
So then,
whose is it?
Well, if it's not one of our birthdays, then it must be one of yours. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday to April birthday. Cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha.